At the same time, this was all happening like in January, February-ish.
February.
Yeah. I was having a ton of pain. Like I would get bloated and look like I was like 6, 7, 8 months pregnant. And I would show Chris, I'm like, look at this. This is crazy. Like my stomach was just, you know, massive. And I'm not a big complainer. Like I don't,
When she says she hurts, she's hurting.
Yeah, like if I'm telling him I need a pain pill, it's
or if she needs to lay down in the middle of the day, which is very rare.
That means I'm like, I feel like
ish.
Yeah, with the S in front of it. So it was just progressively getting worse and worse, and they were prescribing me some pain medication, and it wasn't like, I mean, some strong stuff.
It would level it off, but it wouldn't get rid of it.
It was just horrible. You know, I was trading between ibuprofen and Tylenol every 8 hours, and then also trying to take the pain medication that they would give me, but I tried to limit it because I was like,
this is while she's working.
Yeah, and I don't really like pain medication just because it makes me feel a little but it was getting really bad. So then I told my nurse practitioner, and I told her, hey, well, I'm still bleeding. And she's like, we need to get you in. And so they had scheduled me for kind of an immediate surgery with Dr. Folk. Dr. Folk, you guys, is only in Utah like
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And then his other office.
And sometimes it's like 10 days is all he's here for. And then he's in his other offices because he has one in Reno and Vegas. And he goes to St. George sometimes. Like, this dude is everywhere. So he's only here for like
plus seminars.
A short period of time. And so she's like, we need to get you in right away with him. And
we were thinking in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I was like, oh, like, okay. And then she's like, how about this date? And I was like, oh, sure, yeah, okay. So then I had surgery February 21st. And it's a laparoscopic surgery. So they went in, it was at American Fork Hospital. It wasn't like my normal like hysteroscopies where I go into the clinic and it's, you know, I'm out for 2 seconds and then I'm up and I feel fine the next second. It was a laparoscopic. So they blow up my stomach, they go in, they enter in, I think here and here is where they entered in the 2 regions, and they go and kind of see what's going on in there. So while he was in there, I can't tell you because I don't remember a lot of what he said afterwards. So I'm going to let Chris say what happened because I don't remember too much of it.
When he went in, the good news from it was there was no endometriosis.
Yep.
And
adenomyosis.
None of that either. But what he did find was there was a lot of adhesions. And what was rare, though, was they were a lot higher. So instead of having the adhesions down by her uterus, they were connecting to her kidneys, her liver. So he was thinking it was from a previous surgery that she had had. And then he also found out that from her previous ectopic, the doctor that did it didn't shave it down all the way.
Yeah, so there's like a little nub.
So technically she could have had another ectopic pregnancy.
In the same
same tube because he didn't shave it down all the way. So he went in there and shaved that one down. He did a dye test on the other tube.
On my right tube.
The one that she had left.
Yep.
And come to find out that, I guess on the end of females' tubes, there's like little fingers, like little flanges. And there was none on her. So when he did the test, he came to find out that it was really infected.
Yep.
And then that was probably what was causing all the pain and stuff like that. So
well, the dye he said it didn't even go through.
It couldn't go through. There was blockage.
And that's like one of the huge signs where it's like, you know, something's not going on in there and whatnot.
But after that, you know, he ended up having to take her right tube.
Yeah, he took my right tube out.
So she's tubeless. Mm-hmm. Her ovaries are still there and they are working good. Mm-hmm. He says they look fine.
I'm not gonna lie, like I was pretty like, did you have to take out my right tube because I only have one left? And
he definitely did.
And I was like, he was basically like,
it was in pretty bad shape.
Yeah.
So.
And he thinks that's what was impeding the other embryos from implanting and also causing some of my miscarriages, because basically this infection that's attacking, you know, my body's trying to solutionize it, and so it's not allowing all, you know, I guess the placenta or whatever, I don't know, all that stuff to get the nutrients that it needed, and so it would just cause like this whole little mess down there.
Well,
so
the way you explained it was like, instead of nutrients going to the embryo, it was, her body was already trying to fight the infection in her tube. Yeah. So it pretty much ignore the embryo and attack the virus.
And I have natural killer cells, you guys. Like, I just have like this whole like list of all these little things. Like, it's like,
she's a mess.
It is.
In her areas, baby producing areas, she's a mess.
Yeah, I had to do intraluminal infusion, which is basically to suppress the natural killer cells before, you know, and stuff like that. So yeah.
But when he came in with the news and stuff, while she was still kind of in and out of it, the look on his face.
I do remember this.
The look on his face was like, I found
Dang
it. He's
like, aha!
Shiz,
Eureka! Like,
he was
like smiling.
It was like,
and I was looking at him like, you just took out my ride too. Why are you smiling?
Like, it was bad news for us, but for him, because we had stumped him up until then. Yeah. Because he was just like, okay, maybe it's this, or no, okay, maybe it's this, no, maybe it's this. So when he did this, he's like, okay,
he's like,
got it. He's like, guys, I think this is it.
It was, you could totally tell it was an aha moment. And so we felt super like, oh, okay.
We felt super optimistic.
Yeah, and we had told him prior about what had happened, because he's like, okay, we're going to get your mom or your mother-in-law ready for her to carry, and then we can try to get you going in like, 6 weeks. And then we're like, well, actually, we can't do the gestational carrier. And so then so he's like, that's okay. Don't worry. We've got this taken care of. Like, you just have to know him.
So like after that, he's like, well, maybe we'll do a transfer with you. And we're like, okay, maybe we'll talk about it and stuff like that.
Yeah. So we went to, we met with our nurse practitioner, and she was kind of like, you have to know this girl, chillest girl ever. Like,
she's part of the family.
She really is. Like, I've said this before, but we're like on that hey girl like level, and like, I love the girl to death.
She'll be coming to like future things.
Yeah.
For sure.
So she, we were talking to her, and when we went back for our meeting, because we did start a new calendar to get the process rolling again on a transfer, and she was basically telling us that she had 2 couples that had went to gestational carrier route, and she was like kind of sad about it, but then both of them came back, and we were one of them. And she had also said that there's like 5 couples that Dr. Folk is like, I'm gonna figure it out. Like, I don't care what it takes, but I'm gonna figure it out. And so we are one of those couples. And so she felt really, really like optimistic afterwards, telling us about that. So we were like, woohoo, like good things coming. Like, we think good things happening. And then, we started our calendar at the beginning of...
But you did another blood test, and we found out something else.
No, I was getting to that, yeah. We started our calendar at the beginning of March. Yeah, so I started my meds again, started taking the estradiol every Tuesday and Friday, like pretty much the same exact stuff. And they did a water ultrasound to make sure that everything was still good, because when he did do my surgery, he also did a DNC, just to clean everything out.
Outside and inside.
Yeah, he was like, we are just going to get in there, clean it all out. So he cleaned everything out. And so they did another water ultrasound to make sure that nothing, like no fibroids or polyps had grown back, because I have had that in the past. And then she was like, I think you need to do this test. And I told Dr. Folk, like, let's do this test, because she's had recurrent miscarriages. And I don't know what the full name is, but it's like MTR FHA, something like that. And I was looking at my lab results today, and this is all Chinese to me, but it was like A2 blah 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 blah. And so it's some kind of blood clotting like disorder. I could totally be quoting this wrong, but now I'm on another medication because
that you take what, twice a week?
No, I take it every day.
Every day.
Yeah. Because I can have blood clots really easily, and that's another reason why you can have miscarriages. So if you've had a lot of miscarriages, get that test done. Ask them to run that test, because it's such a simple thing.
We will find out the name of it, so you will.
The actual name of the test, but what they have put me on is Lovenox, which is kind of like it's a blood thinner.
It's a blood thinner. Yeah,
like if you've heard of warfarin, this one's an injection. And so they put me on that to see if that will kind of help with everything. On top of, I do the intralipids a week before, the Neupogen, which is the one that they insert 5 days before. Then I start progesterone in oil 6 days prior. I do my estrogen Tuesdays and Fridays. And then I'll do progesterone suppositories. Daily after the suppository with the Lovenox, baby aspirin, prenatal, and I think I got it all.
We have our own little pharmacy here.
So those are all the things that I get to do just to try to get pregnant, okay? Like, that's everything that I try to do just to try to get pregnant.
Every transfer we've had, there's been a medication added.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right?
Yeah. Like, here you go, try this one. Okay, here we go. Like, I'm just like, all right. Like, I'm so used to being poked by needles. That was my biggest concern with the gestational carrier is I was like, I don't want them to get poked. Yeah. Like, I didn't want to feel so bad. And I kept asking Toma, I was like, are you sure? She's like, yeah, I don't care. I'm like, are you scared? And she goes, no, I'm fine. And I'm like, are you sure? Like, I didn't want them to have to deal with it because you get sore and just, yeah, that's the not so fun stuff. But that's pretty much where we're at. That was a recap of like 5-6 months, you guys, but it was a lot of information.
So we went through a transfer.
Yes, we did. I didn't know we were going to say that.
But
I guess we are. We are. We just had our transfer on March 31st, 2020. And we both really felt, it's hard. We feel optimistic and we feel at peace, but we also want to be reserved.
You can't help not to be.
Yeah. Like, he gets mad at me because I Google everything and I'm like, what is this?
Shouldn't be.
What is this feeling? What is this feeling? What is this feeling? Like, he hates it. But I'm in the 2-week wait right now, which is the worst time ever because you're just sitting here trying to figure out every sensation and like all these things. And like yesterday, and I don't know if it's because we're in quarantine, but I could have eaten a cow and I probably ate the amount of a cow yesterday because he kept sitting there looking at me like, you're still hungry? Every time I turn around, I'm like, I want this, I want this, I want this. And he was just looking at me like I was crazy. And I was like, I don't know what it is. And so then of course I'm Googling it and I'm like, some people say, yeah, they did do that before they're pregnant. Other people are like, oh no, this just happens right before my menstrual cycle. So I was like, okay, this isn't helping me. I have no clue. So I kind of just been like, whatever. We do our blood test this Friday. And I don't know, this whole process, I feel like we've been very, what?
As in this one?
Yeah.
Hopeful?
I think we are everyone.
I mean, it's just everything that's happened since the last one.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of seems to us that it's time.
Yeah.
Because of the things that have fallen into place.
Yeah.
So.
We're definitely hoping that. Like, we're definitely praying for a successful full-term pregnancy.
Yeah.
But Chris and I are we've said this before, we're from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And we had I guess like a couple's prayer before the transfer.
Blessing.
I had a blessing, but in our couple's prayer, I felt very like one of the things I did say was like, if it's your will, like, we're totally ready and totally accepting of like this to happen. And you know, we may not understand why it didn't happen before, but looking back, I feel like I see a little bit of everything every time where it was like, okay, not that we weren't ready, because I think we've been ready for a while. It's just, we had to get things in order, to prepare, because one of our lifetime goals is to be able to be with our children, throughout everything. I mean, that's what we see as our life, is to be there for their sporting events, to be there for
everything.
you know, those of you that are in the COVID-19 quarantine and going crazy with your children right now, that's what we wish for.
We say that now.
Yeah.
But we definitely,
who knows,
we definitely
later.
feel your pain though.
I mean, I do admire you guys, nor am I, because kudos to you guys for having to be teachers and everything. But that's really what we want to do. We don't want to ever have to be a parent, and we know that there's people out there that's the circumstances that they have to be, where they need to provide for their family. But we've tried to put ourselves in a situation where we can be a parent where it's like,
we don't miss any dance recitals.
Exactly. Like, we didn't have to miss anything because we were working or because something else came up. And so that's what I think has come from this, is we really are going to have, hopefully, that opportunity to do that. Granted, we still work, we still run our business, but what's beautiful about it is we do it from home for the most part. I mean, we travel occasionally because we have to, but this whole quarantine thing hasn't been that different for us, exception of not eating at restaurants, volleyball, and
that's pretty much it. Volleyball and eating at restaurants.
Because
like
pretty much
we left the house.
We are homebodies,
and we're good with it.
Yeah, we're okay with it. So that's, I mean, for those of you like, we're going crazy, I'm like, oh, this isn't every day. And the gym, like, I do miss going to the gym. We've talked about doing a home gym for a while.
Real weights.
Yeah, like, we have our home gym, but it's nowhere near what we would like it to be. So one day we'll get there. But I think we're just excited. We're optimistic, and hopefully the next video we get on, it's good news. And it's something that we can, I don't know. Like we've said in passings, we'll celebrate every small little thing that happens. You know, we've already made huge progress finding out that I don't have endometriosis, and adenomyosis is huge. And that it was an infection that was causing so much of all of this crap, and could have been from a prior surgery. Mind you, I did have a surgery in 2013. And so like a laparoscopic surgery, I had a gastric sleeve. And so they think that a lot of that could have been caused from that. And so it's crazy because that was before Chris and I got married. So this infection could have been building for a long time. But, so we're hopeful. We know it's in the Lord's hands, and yeah.
Well,
do you have anything else?
Yeah, that's about it.
Nope. Well, we want you all to know that in these times of uncertainty, like we said, we are very faith-believing people. I do believe that God loves us. I believe that He doesn't want us to suffer. And I know that there's a lot of things that are happening right now. And we may not understand. That's, if anything, I've learned from our fertility and infertility journey, is that I may not understand why, but I do trust in Him and trust in His plan. And maybe down the road, I'll find out. And so I hope whatever struggles or trials you're going through, whether it's related to this, whether it's related to financial stability, what our economy is going to do, your health, if you are high at risk, whatever it is.
Maybe mental or physical.
Yeah, like, you know, our prayers are with you during this time, and hopefully you can know too that you're loved in these times of uncertainty. And I really do feel in my heart, I don't have a crystal ball, I'm not a fortune teller, but I do feel in my heart that we're going to look back at this, and not only are we going to look back at it, but we're going to be stronger than what we were before we went into it. And we're going to be more united as a country and as a world. And it's just brought so many beautiful things. I mean, yeah, we can focus on the negative, but families are reuniting. Families are getting back together. People are spending time, genuine time with each other, rather than, you know, this or that or this. Like, people, we're going back to our roots, you know, and seeing what true necessities are in our lives and what's really important, which is our loved ones, our care, you know, our friends and things like that. So I hope you can take the positivity out of this hard time that our whole world is going through, wherever you're at. Be safe, and much love. And we'll see you guys next time. Anything else?
Stay safe.
Hey, bye guys.